Are the Chiefs still the best team in the AFC West?
Oh, 100% Greeny. They're the best team because they dominate that division. They've won it time and time and time again.
All right, let's talk about me starting up a new channel, renovations coming to Arrowhead, and let's look at what RG3 has to say about the Chiefs this season, as well as the ever wrong Skip Bayless, and much freaking more. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, aka the Warbeard Wonder, or sometimes known as the Red-Bearded Kung Fu Master, and I do daily news about the Chiefs and the NFL overall, so I'm gonna need you to sub if you're new, hit that like button if you think Skip Bayless is absolutely off his freaking rocker, and let's get into this video, starting with a question first for you all. If I started another YouTube channel with a focus purely on big picture NFL news, would you be interested in subscribing and watching? It would be the same style as these videos, sarcastic, dry humor, but packed full of value in a concise manner. I'd cover, for example, recent things like Rob Gronkowski's retirement, the Washington Commanders drama, Deshaun Watson, Chase Claypool saying he's a top 3 receiver in the NFL. I couldn't say that with a straight face, and other relevant stuff like that, maybe a few days a week. Would that be of an interest to any of you? If so, let me know in the comments down below. Have no fear though, because this channel is not going anywhere and it'll remain my primary focus. Chiefs news, all that good stuff. But I've been itching to start a secondary channel covering bigger picture NFL news, maybe a few days a week. And especially now that the NFL is one of the slowest periods of the year until training camp starts, I think it might be a good time to start this channel up and cook some other NFL news up for anyone interested. And speaking of cooking, I love pizza, but not all pizzas are created equal now, are they? Well, in spite of that obvious fact, the NFL has now officially downgraded to a new pizza sponsor. That's right, the third largest pizza chain in the world, and the NFL today announced a multi-year partnership that names Little Caesars as the official pizza sponsor of the National Football League. The president and CEO of Little Caesars said, "This partnership aims to enhance the fun of game day by bringing the quality and convenience Little Caesars is known for to NFL fans across the country. And because we're the value leader, aka the great value brand, in the pizza industry, hungry fans can enjoy weekly game time meals at a very affordable price during a time when food prices are on the rise." Well, allow me to translate what this man just said. He said, because we are cheap and don't use quality food, you guys can save money by ordering a pizza that tastes similar to cardboard with a little bit of meat, cheese, and sauce thrown on top of it all. Let's be honest here, Little Caesars is like the great value brand of Walmart, the Denver Broncos of the AFC West, if you will, and the Derek Carr of quarterbacks. Basically, what I'm saying is,
they're horrible.
So while their pizza may be as mediocre as Tua Tagovailoa's arm strength, I gotta give it to them because somehow, some way, they were actually able to out-pizza the Hut. Freaking crazy. But let's move on and cover a wee bit of player news for you all via their socials. Juju can be seen out there admiring God's creation, then burying a poor child in the sand. Mahomes is here, which makes me very jealous at the view, yet his daughter cannot stop staring at the little palm tree to her left. Shane Buechele's fiance can be seen hitting the jumper of her life, and Willie Gay's son drank way too much apple juice at some event and passed out in his little wagon. And then Orlando Brown Jr. participated in a trial net study with Children's Mercy to help find answers for type 1 diabetes. Most of you guys know this, but his dad died of type 1 diabetes at the young age of 40, and relatives of people with type 1 are 15 times more likely to develop the disease, which I didn't know that. So that's awesome to see O. Brown Jr. stepping up, participating in this trial, and trying to get some things figured out for people who have type 1. You love to see it, and you can tell how passionate he is about helping others because he has experienced firsthand the pain and trauma diabetes can bring upon families. And then I also need to mention that it was the legend Len Dawson's birthday, I believe on June 20th, 2 days ago, and he turned, I think, 87 years young. This man played for the Chiefs for 14 seasons, then took them to 3 AFL championships and the franchise's first Super Bowl title in Super Bowl IV, in which they won, of course, and he also won the game's MVP award. He retired from the game of football in 1975 and later served as the sports director of KMBC TV in KC, and could be heard for many years on the Chiefs radio network as well. Dawson was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1987, and here's a fun fact. I believe he still owns the Chiefs' career passing yards, touchdowns, and wins record despite last playing in 1975, the NFL expanding to 16-game seasons, and the evolution into the NFL being a pass-dominated league. That's how freaking good he was. He has 28,507 all-time passing yards, followed by Trent Green with 21,459 passing yards, and then Mahomes is next already with 18,991 yards, and I'm sure Mahomes will break the all-time passing yards record for the Chiefs eventually, but this is absolutely incredible. So I hope the legend Len Dawson had a great birthday. And speaking of birthdays, today is a fan of the channel's birthday. Damon is his name. He turned 17 today. I told him I'd give him a shout out, so happy freaking birthday, man. Hope you have a great day, eat some cake, or at least get some Gates barbecue. And with Kansas City winning the World Cup bid for 2026, it looks like some changes are coming to Arrowhead. The more realistic option is further upgrades to the stadium itself, about $50 million in upgrades, and the much less likely option is a brand new stadium entirely. Kansas City's mayor said recently that Arrowhead will be looking at around $50 million in upgrades in preparation, paid for via the state and private fundraising, and he also said that's basically what it's going to look like unless something else was worked out with a new stadium, or at least hinted to that. But the lease goes until 2031, so unless they can break that bad boy early, I see nothing of the sort happening. I see that as very, very unlikely, to be honest. But speaking of the most likely option, upgrades. During the 2021 season, $13 million in upgrades were made to improve the experience for fans, coaches, and players, which included the team's new Hall of Honor and renovations made to the locker room. And in 2019, renovations were made that included new upper deck seating, weatherproofing, and a new video board. And it looks like additional costs are going to be spent for increased transit between the stadiums and population centers in the city and airport. And that's because there's literally nothing around the stadium but a taco toilet and a Denny's, so that is a must. And there y'all go. Upgrades are coming to Arrowhead due to the draft coming next year, and further spurred on by the World Cup bid that was recently won for 2026. And it's also worth noting that KC would also love to host a Super Bowl one day, so maybe the upgrades that are coming would be able to include a roof. I just smacked my mic, but a roof of some sorts, because that's really the only way a Super Bowl is coming to Kansas City. All right, y'all, former NFL quarterback Robert Griffin III, aka RG3, had some comments to make recently on ESPN about the Chiefs, and I'm just going to say, wow, I had no idea he was a Chiefs fan, or at least spoke this positively of Kansas City. He actually said Patrick Mahomes will be better this season with Tyreek gone, and it's because the Chiefs decided to replace Tyreek with not just one guy. He elaborated a bit more on his Twitter yesterday, saying the Chiefs are deeper at wide receiver than ever. Tyreek Hills don't grow on trees, so after he moved to Miami, the Chiefs replaced Tyreek with DEPTH, depth. They added Juju, MVS, Sky Moore, and have Josh Gordon, Corey Coleman, and Justin Ross fighting to be wide receiver 5 or 6. Chemistry will be the key, not talent. That's right, the more in tune Mahomes can get with these guys, the more trust that can be established, the more playbook that can be learned, the freaking better. He then gave more reasoning as to why Mahomes will play even better without Tyreek.
Mahomes is going to have playmakers, and the variability in their skills is going to help him actually play more efficient, because when Tyreek is not there, Mahomes' passer rating is 103.1 with 8 touchdowns and 1 interception in 5 games. So Tyreek actually makes him be less efficient because he's forcing the ball to the fastest guy on grass.
So yeah, no more forcing the ball to the fastest guy on grass. It's time to spread that ball all around and keep people guessing. RG3 then touched on the whole Tyreek podcast debacle, simply saying that Mahomes is going to be very ready to prove a lot of people wrong with Tyreek gone.
Mahomes is already prepared like a mad scientist, the way that he works and the way he approaches the game. But Tyreek has really got him ready to go full Walter White on the rest of the NFL.
Oh, really now? Well, if any of you have seen the show Breaking Bad, then you know what's freaking good. And if you haven't, you need to go watch that show and get out of the rock that you've been living under. But RG3 is basically saying that Mahomes is going to torch the NFL this season and remind everyone that he runs this ship. Corey, the artist chief on Twitter, yesterday said this: Mahomes threw 4 TDs and 278 yards in one quarter versus the Raiders without Tyreek Hill, which is absolutely bananas to think about. Mahomes also liked the tweet himself, and for whatever reason unliked the tweet a few hours later, but still, Mahomes is a professional on the mic, but I promise you, he's ready to absolutely unleash on the league this season with every single fiber of his being. Anyway, back to RG3's segment on ESPN. While he thinks Mahomes is going to slay out this season, he's not positive he will break his stats like the 2018 season with 5,000 yards and 50 TDs, but he remains confident Mahomes is going to have a great season and continue to be the father of the AFC West because they've won the West time and time and time again. But he does have a bit of a critique for KC, and honestly, it's what he should have done less when he himself was a quarterback.
What the Chiefs need to do moving forward without Tyreek is lean on their running game a little bit more. In 2019, when they won the Super Bowl, they ran for 100-plus yards and multiple touchdowns in every game in the playoffs. And I think that with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and a couple of other backs that they brought in, Ronald Jones II, and then Jerick McKinnon bringing him back, they need to feature that a little bit more.
Well, yeah, you can certainly say that again, my good sir. Run the freaking football down their throat. Please and thank you. Anyway, I was never a RG3 hater prior to seeing this by any means, but my respect for him is now at an all-time high. I like this guy. In fact, he's one of the few guys that seem to have their brain still attached to the brain stem in regards to the Chiefs this offseason. So, thank you for that. And I'd like to also give a big thank you to Shannon Sharpe as well, because without him on Undisputed, that show would be a dumpster fire, because Skip Bayless continues to say things that appear to make his IQ look even lower, which is already an extremely difficult task to accomplish.
I don't know if you noticed, but overall last year, your man, Mahomes, had by far his career worst season.
Let that
overall.
think about what you just said.
Okay.
And the man threw for almost 5,000 yards with 35-plus touchdowns.
Career low in QBR, career low in yards per attempt, career low in yards per catch, and career high in interceptions with 13, losses with 5, sacked last year 20 times, career high.
So as Skip continues to read his little stat sheet, which I'm surprised he's smart enough to be able to read at all, he's missing a crucial concept here. Mahomes' worst year was still about the same stats-wise as the QB he worships, Dak very mid Prescott, who arguably had his best statistical season last year. And I can't forget to mention, Dak very mid Prescott still couldn't make it past the wild card round in the playoffs. In fact, the Cowboys hadn't been back to the playoffs since 2018. So while you try to discredit greatness, Skip, remember Mahomes and company has been to 4 AFC championship games in a row. Meanwhile, the Cowboys haven't even seen a conference championship game since I was 4 years of age. Skip. Anyway, bud, there's levels to this game, and also a big difference between good QBs like Dak and great ones like Mahomes. Anyway, good old Skip then pivots to talking about Patrick's no-look passes that he can be seen throwing at their mandatory minicamp recently, and had this to say.
He's out there practicing no-look passes. Maybe he should practice look passes. How about look passes?
I know a team that won a Super Bowl because of a guy threw on a third down, threw a no-look in the Super Bowl game.
Yep.
Do you think Matthew Stafford practiced those in practice, or he just decided to wing it in that moment?
I mean, Shannon Sharpe's mind is literally the definition of his last name. Sharp as a samurai sword, fresh out of the blacksmith shop. I mean, hello, do you think the Rams win that game without Stafford looking off the secondary to get Kupp open on that third down play? I'm not so sure about that.
Well, maybe should Patrick try more no-looks then? Because the looks last year didn't work very well.
At this point, this take just gets comical because Skip does not even believe what he's saying. Listen to this again and watch his confidence literally fizzle out near the end, and Shannon simply say, Skip.
Well, maybe should Patrick try more no-looks then? Because the looks last year didn't work very well.
Yeah.
This was, by his standards, a mediocre.
Let that sink in. The man threw for almost 5,000. Over 35, we have 35 touchdowns, and he had an off season.
Maybe you should throw no looks every down.
We're talking a lot about looks here, and I think Skip needs to take a look in the mirror and decide it's probably time to hang his little mic up, because at this point, he needs to consider checking into a senior living center, because it is clear that over the last few years, he's slipping pretty badly, and he's reached a literal point of no return with these cute little takes. Please pray for Skip, because the only thing that can help him now is a literal divine intervention. Anyway, make sure to let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on all of this, on what RG3 has to say about Patrick Mahomes having a better season this year without Tyreek, and the things that Shannon Sharpe said, as well as Skip Bayless. I know Skip says a lot of what he does for clicks and views, and it freaking works, but dude, it's getting ridiculous at this point. You know he doesn't even believe his own takes. It's sad. From here, I want to give a quick shout out to a couple super thanks comments. One is from Christopher Steele, who has an awesome last name, by the way. He says thanks, and to that I say, you're freaking welcome, bro. Let's go. He also says in another comment, I believe the receiver squad will surprise all the naysayers. I'm excited about this group and being more well-rounded. Let's go, Chiefs. Yes, sir. I think Mahomes is going to do his thing and still have a great season. He will certainly elevate these guys. And of course, he still has his trustworthy sidekick in Travis Kelce, who will, barring any injuries, of course, put up 1,000+ yards this season. And then Lawrence Smith Jr. sent over a $10 super thanks saying, appreciate your time and efforts. Now the only podcast I watch daily. Love the format and the humor. Thank you, sir. Well, thank you, sir, for your generosity. I'm grateful you enjoy the content and my humor. Not everybody enjoys the humor part. Actually, some find me not funny at all, but I'm the funniest guy I know. And I will definitely be answering more comments from you guys in the future. July is going to be a lot slower, so I will take time to answer more comments than just the super thanks here in the future. Make sure to leave a comment below to potentially be featured in an upcoming vid. Sub for more daily news like this, blah, blah, blah. And check out this video here, which is the full interaction between Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless about Mahomes and his no-look passes, and Skip Bayless showing that he is on the decline. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those